The Oscars made everyone happy. Will Samsung Unpacked do any better?
We break down all the Samsung leaks and expectations.
Stick around for your daily charge. Good morning and welcome to the Daily Charge. It's Monday, February 10th. I'm Joni Salzman.
And I'm Eli Blumenthal.
Here are today's headlines. Samsung's big Unpacked event is tomorrow. CNET will be covering every microcrumb of news. But looking ahead, Eli, phones are always in the spotlight. So what are we expecting?
We're expecting 4 phones.
Four,
as the main group. 3 Galaxy S20s, the S20, a higher-end middle S20, the S20 Plus, and then a top-of-the-line S20 Ultra, which will be the, flagship of the bunch.
Right.
Cameras are expected to get big upgrades. The S20 Ultra may have something like an 100x zoom. So what I think Samsung, according to all the rumors and leaks, are calling a space zoom to get really, really close with your subject. XDA developer reporter Max Weinbach has been basically leaking all of these things.
Yeah.
So most of this stuff's already on the internet, whether on Twitter or we've been covering it on CNET.com. So lots of phones, and then a flip phone to rival the
fourth
Motorola
phone?
Razr. So we have the Razr here. This is Motorola's new flip phone. That's a smartphone. Samsung is rumored to have one called the Galaxy Z Flip. Well, I guess it's no longer a rumor.
We don't know that they didn't officially give the name.
Right.
Right. But we saw they had an ad during the Oscars last night.
They outright just revealed it
as a way to drum up interest for Unpacked. Everybody tune in, just like you're not tuning in for the Oscars.
And they put another ad out today with a partner that they're working with, a luxury brand in New York.
Yeah.
So, Samsung has decided that, all the leaks are showing off their stuff. They might as well just start putting
Google
them out.
did that too, right?
Google did that. A lot of companies have increasingly decided that, we'll hold an event, but in the, months and days leading up to it, we'll just announce it ahead of time.
Yeah. So what else is likely to be coming beyond phones?
So beyond phones, headphones have been rumored. Galaxy Buds Plus. We don't really know exactly what they're going to be showing off, but they will be kind of like an AirPods competitor.
Yeah.
So something in that range. I think rumored pricing that was on the internet was about $150 for those.
Yeah.
AirPods generally start about $160. If you want AirPods Pro, those are $250. So we'll see how they stack up there. Watches are always possible. Galaxy Home Mini.
Yeah.
Samsung's rival to Google's Nest Home Mini and the Alexa Echo Dot.
Are there
Amazon.
Do you have any hunches about surprises about what could that out of left field could pop up?
There have been some rumors about a virtual reality or augmented reality headset.
Oh, yeah.
Possible that shows up.
Well,
Samsung hasn't done a watch in a while.
They haven't done anything with their gear, VR in a long time.
The gear's been very, very
But also,
quiet.
Nothing really has been happening in VR.
Nothing has been
Well, that's
happening
not
in
true.
VR.
I'm an
Don't
advocate
tell
of
that to
VR.
Scott.
I know. I'm an advocate of VR too, but it seems like the hype was super hype, and now it's just kind of
it's kind of went the way of
murmurs.
3D TV.
Yeah.
It was something that was really buzzy, really cool.
Yeah.
And there was a bunch of stuff in the initial onset, and then everything disappeared.
So VR may be a surprise, or is there anything else you think just like
the watch is possible?
Yeah.
Because Samsung hasn't had a watch in a little bit, so it's very possible they'll come out with something new.
Yeah.
Especially with the Apple Watch already being out there. They've obviously been updating that yearly. We're on to Series 5 on that. And Google's, acquisition of Fitbit. So who knows if they're going to try to get back into the wearable game.
Well, Samsung did give us that brief preview of what we'll see at Unpacked last night during the Oscars. They had an ad that had spinny flip phones that looked real chic and tiny and cute and whatever.
And probably expensive. The rumored price on this is $1,400. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Well, how much is the Razr?
The Razr's $15, and it's only on Verizon.
So it's a bargain.
Yeah,
A
comparatively
rumored
speaking,
bargain.
I mean, the Galaxy Note was about $2,000, and Huawei's phone is $2,600. So for $1,400,
that's a steal.
You might as well just buy them all.
Well, you know who tried to buy them all is Netflix. They tried to buy all the Oscars.
Mm-hmm.
But even though they had the most nominations of any studio, including 2 nominations for Best Picture, the big headline of the Oscars was Parasite.
Yeah, that's kind of dominated.
Yeah, it dominated. It got the most awards. It also won Best Picture, and it was the first time a foreign language film won the top prize. Did you have any highlights from the Oscars last night?
I thought the opening with Janelle Monáe was
very
impressive.
Righteous. It was very righteous.
Righteous.
Yeah.
Righteous is a good word for it. Getting Brad Pitt and Leonardo DiCaprio to sing along.
That was
even
cringy,
for a
though.
second.
It was cringy.
It was, but it was also, okay.
I don't blame Janelle for it, but it's just kind of like they were like,
Shoot your shot. Why not? So, you know what? Good on her. I thought the Jeff Bezos bit in that
That was
opening.
funny.
That was funny. Who knows how much Jeff Bezos, if he paid to get in that monologue?
Well, I mean, he
could.
He
As
paid
they-
in the sense of having like more money than God and
As they-
financing lots of.
as they
But there was
mentioned.
no Amazon. There were no Amazon movies that were nominated this year.
Yeah.
So last year, no, 2 years ago, Amazon beat Netflix to getting kind of like one of those prestigious Oscars because they had Manchester by the Sea win. Netflix last year, they were in the running for Best Picture with Roma. Didn't get it. They were running twice this year. Didn't get it.
It's kind of interesting to see that the Academy, I don't know if it's conscious or subconscious that they're not honoring Netflix.
Yeah.
But it definitely seems to be something that, as you mentioned, is hanging over these award shows as these streaming players join the fight.
Yeah, for sure. And I don't even know. Do you think that's the thing. They have been winning more awards though. Laura Dern, she got her first Oscar for not
Marriage.
her actually, yeah, her
Her
first
first
Oscar.
Oscar and Brad Pitt got his, but Brad Pitt wasn't on a Netflix show.
Yeah, it was Netflix first time winning an Oscar for acting. So they're winning more of these big highlighted.
Right, and Jennifer Aniston with
prestigious one.
Apple TV won a bunch of awards for the morning show. So
Right.
streaming services are producing very high quality content. I mean, the fact that The Irishman and Marriage Story were both nominated heavily this year just speaks to that.
It's clutching those Oscars. But even if you spend through the nose,
Right.
it's
I mean,
really
we saw
hard.
Avengers Endgame was nominated, and that was the biggest movie of
Exactly.
the year.
Yeah.
And that came away empty-handed for their one nomination last night, I believe.
Yeah, right. So we're curious. Let's see what's going on in our live audience today. Did you watch the Oscars? What are your predictions? What rumors have you heard about Samsung's being unveiling tomorrow? Let's put our heads together and keep the conversation going. BVG, what's happening?
Let's go ahead and jump right into the chat. You mentioned the watch early on with Samsung. Brian wants to know what the likelihood of a watch really is on that docket.
I'd say it's low, but not non-existent. It's just only because the rumors compared to everything else that's been thrown about. We know pretty much every last detail on these phones, seemingly. Likewise on the Buds, increasingly more on this Galaxy Home Mini, which had a video from Max Weinbach. He posted over the weekend with it, responding in English to some Hey Bixby requests or powering on. But again, it's not impossible that Samsung might want to do something there. I wouldn't get your hopes up, but it's as a possible surprise, I wouldn't count it out.
Next up is coming from our friend Eric. He watched our infamous folding test with the new Motorola Razr. He says, "Does that thing still close after that whole mess?"
Well, the one that we put through the ringer, I don't know what the status is on that. I've been using this since launch day, which was last Thursday.
Yeah.
I picked one up at a Verizon store in the city.
Can I?
Yeah,
Well, you
by
talk.
all means.
I haven't had a chance to play with it yet.
It still opens and closes fine. I've been using it. The camera's not great. The specs aren't great for $1,500. I wanted more. Would have been nice to have had more. But as far as the actual opening and closing, yeah, it's fine. It no longer sounds as much like crumpling paper than it did when I first opened and closed it.
Really?
Yeah, it's just if you bring it closer to the mic, you can still hear it a little bit.
It still doesn't have quite that satisfying
No, but
snap that the old school.
Yeah,
the
the
ones that were
old
just
Razor.
like
You
mean
actual
like this
hinges.
oh yes, like the one you have, BBG. But
Like that. It's not quite. You can't just kind of go. Phew, and
But
then,
you can open and close it with one hand, which is super satisfying. Answering calls on that is super satisfying.
It's hard for me to do with one hand. Let me see.
so if
you
you-
show you've got the
I
professional
guess if you thumb
okay.
underneath.
It's just not the same.
We
But
can't
then
see
again,
your
it wasn't
hand.
a screen in
That's
the old
true.
days.
That's true.
Spanning the
this
whole face of
actually
it.
has the full display here, so it's nice. Stereo speakers also, just because we were talking a lot about movies.
Yeah.
Watching Disney Plus on here. Verizon obviously touts Disney Plus heavily.
Yeah.
It's preloaded. I signed in. And yeah, there's no stereo speakers, so if you're going to watch movies on here, use headphones. It
Yeah.
just doesn't have the same
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah. Anyway.
Hopefully Samsung does something different.
Oh yeah, we're talking about Samsung. Right?
Ryan wants to know, have there been any numbers on how many Galaxy Folds have been sold so far? I feel the Z Flip may be a little more appealing, but I'm skeptical that it will be a true big hit.
I don't know the numbers offhand. There were some conflicting reports last year about exactly how many were sold, and that number itself can be misleading at times because
Yeah.
they're sold and they're sell through.
Right.
So
There's
sold
shipments and-
right,
right.
exactly. So some could just be how many they created and put in retail stores, and then there's how many actually were purchased by customers. Those numbers are different sometimes. I don't know what the exact ones are, but the fact that this rumored price of the Z Flip is $1,400 as opposed to $2,000 is kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
Though I guess if you are willing to pay $1,400 for a first generation product, you probably don't care about the extra
Well, maybe-
five, but maybe not.
Maybe it indicates that they're realizing this is all speculation, but maybe they realize that at that price point, they didn't have the kind of demand they're hoping, even from that niche of like super early adopters.
sure.
We are hardcore. We want to buy this thing. And if they realize they couldn't even really get people to come out for that sort of thing. I mean, there's a lot of factors at play. But
Right. Not
who
to
knows?
mention the fact that the Fold was obviously plagued by
Right.
all of its launch issues. It was
Right,
supposed to
right,
come out in
right.
April. Those early review units, all the nightmares that I guess that folded, unfolded after that, and pun I guess
Right.
semi-intended.
Right, right.
That probably played a factor.
Yeah.
So the price was only on one carrier in the U.S. It was only on AT&T. It was supposed to initially be on AT&T and T-Mobile when it was announced last year. So this one, we'll see how the carriers react to it. Carriers are obviously a big part of selling phones in the U.S.
Next one's coming from a new commenter, Multi-Sooner1. I saw where the Galaxy S20 will not have an LTE version in the US. What's the story with that?
So the rumors are that all the Galaxy S20 phones are going to be 5G. Now, that doesn't mean that they won't work with LTE. If 5G is not available in your area, especially if you're on a carrier like Verizon or Sprint or AT&T, you still will be able to use LTE. Having 5G does not preclude you from having LTE. But the good news is if you are looking to get the S20, you will probably be able to tap into 5G when available. It'll be interesting to see how they break down the 5G because there's a couple of different flavors, and we've gone into this ad nauseum on CNET.com, breaking down that you have the T-Mobile 5G, which is low band primarily. You have the Verizon 5G, which is millimeter wave and only in select cities. And then you have AT&T, which is doing some combination of both. And Sprint, which is, well, Sprint is plagued by all their various issues and only available in really like 9 cities plus parts of Miami.
Right.
So you will have, if you get the S20, LTE and 5G. Exactly what phones have 5G. There's been rumors that, some will have all 5G, some will only have some 5G. We'll have to see what Samsung does tomorrow.
Next up from our old friend Brian, do you think they'll ever release a Bixby speaker?
Well, that's a Galaxy Home Mini, and that's something that a Korean press release actually a couple weeks ago said it was coming on February 12th, which happens to be one day after Unpacked. So we will see if Samsung actually does it. Again, there were some videos posted on Twitter over the weekend showing off this thing being powered on and talking in English. Samsung has been doing beta tests in South Korea, its home country, since last August, I believe. So will we see a Bixby speaker? Probably. Will you want a Bixby speaker? I can't answer that for you because I can't answer if anyone wants Bixby at all.
All right.
But, at least if you want the speaker, at least that's possible.
Let's see. What's next? Next from Storm King, will Samsung introduce a new tablet?
That's a good question. I don't know of anything about their tablets. They just created a 5G variant of their tablet for, I believe, South Korea. I guess it's possible they bring it to the U.S. But again, the 5G situation in the U.S. is so messy. Like all the early 5G phones, they only worked on one of those flavors. So if you had a Verizon Galaxy Note 10 Plus, for example, it only worked with Verizon's millimeter wave. If you had an AT&T or T-Mobile Galaxy Note 10 Plus, it only worked with their low band. It wouldn't work with their millimeter wave. So the 5G situation in the U.S. is kind of complicated at the moment. It'll be interesting to see what's embraced with what. I mean, to Samsung, I guess, benefit on this go-around is the new Qualcomm chips that these are rumored to have, the X55 modem and the Snapdragon 865, and we're getting really in the weeds on jargon here, are technically capable of supporting multiple flavors. So we'll see if that happens. And if that does, it's very possible they come out with a tablet that has 5G.
Here's a really good one. The old Razr had a lanyard space, like a hook on the side. Does the new one have it? It's not going to focus for me. You can kind of see it there.
Yeah, you don't have that here. I don't know if we can zoom in a little bit here. Go on this camera.
There we go.
Yeah, you don't really have that option here. You just have that USB-C port and then the hinges. So
Missed
no
opportunity.
lanyard here unless I guess you wanted to plug something into the USB-C.
Just drill into your like $1,600.
Yeah, you could. I guess if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
You could stick something onto the back. I guess it's a plastic, non-removable back. So if you wanted to, but lanyard, no, I don't think that's wise. Also, this thing is pretty fragile. You may want to be careful with just hanging it from your neck. And it's also, I mean, you held it
It's heavy.
It's not a light phone like the original Razr.
I mean, I got a very significant necklace on today, but it's heavier than that. So,
There
in
we
terms
go.
of things you hang around your neck, weight ratios.
Yeah, $1,600 phones probably not. $1,500 phones not
Right.
recommended.
Right.
It's just funny to me that that's something that we still recall, like the lanyard. I mean, that was a thing that we collect. In my generation, we collected those when you're going through high school. That was like a sign of status if you had many lanyards from many different places, and you could collect all your keys and different accoutrements to go with it. I never put a phone on one, though. Did you guys?
This is all foreign to me, so sure.
Speaking of the Razr, they should market it more as a fashion piece. This is coming from our friend Brian, because of the form factor, recalling that Paris Hilton used to market the old Razr in the same way. How dated are we today?
Right.
We're doing a lot of throwbacks.
Yeah.
A lot of early 2000 throwbacks here. If you had Paris Hilton on your bingo card, you can mark that off.
Well, I mean, how have they approached it so far? I mean, we're still barely into the release of this.
Well, yeah,
Are they going to try to go down that route? Are they going to get a Kardashian or something to try to...
The Oscar ad is the first flavor that we got of how they're going to market it,
And
right?
that was just Samsung. I
Right.
don't think Motorola or Verizon have touted this in a Oscar style ad.
Yeah.
And that's the second most watched event on TV.
Is it?
I believe it's the Super Bowl and then the Oscars as far as like live TV.
Right. Well.
But I don't know, maybe an episode of Chicago PD is better or Sunday Football.
I don't know.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how Verizon and Motorola market this. We obviously now know Samsung is going to be pretty aggressive.
Yeah.
If this Oscar ad is any indication, Oscar buys are not cheap. So if they're doing it ahead of launch, one can only imagine what Samsung's going to do after launch when this thing's theoretically on store shelves. And that actually might happen as soon as later this week, according to some of these rumors and leaks, is that by Friday you could be able to walk into a Carrier store or Best Buy and pick one up. Max Weinbach, this guy at XDA Developers, who again has been just sharing everything about these phones, tweeted that he was in some stores over the weekend and they were basically telling him, yeah, we have stock of this thing.
Really?
We just can't. We have boxes from Samsung, I think was his verbiage, that we can't open until Friday. So read into that what you will.
Interesting.
On at least the flip phone.
Right.
It's also weird that we're saying flip phone in 2020 and like getting all excited about it.
I miss
What's
the flip
old is
phone.
new again.
I know. It all comes back. It's all cycles.
Kashif says Android had a very cryptic tweet about Unpacked. Any thoughts on what it could be? Here, let's take a look at it right here. Something exciting is just around the corner. See you at Unpacked. All right, what are we going to speculate on this one, guys?
Well, Samsung, when they first came out with the original Fold, partnered with Google about it because designing Android for this type of form factor isn't just as simple as just putting Android on and just hoping it works. It is a different form factor. It does require some customizations, and they are working in hand with Google to make those modifications. It's possible that's what's going on. And I would actually probably wager that Google's involved in some way in optimizing for foldables.
Yeah.
Especially with now Razer and Samsung. You have Microsoft having their dual screen phone coming out later this year.
Yeah.
So Android's evolving. It's no longer just, a Pixel or Galaxy like candy bar, like your iPhone, I guess. Just a rectangle slab. It's now all these different things. And honestly, that's fun. It's different.
Yeah.
There's no need to have just everyone have the same rectangle.
Yeah.
Vavix99 on Periscope asks the question on everybody's mind, why is that Razer so expensive?
New technology is not cheap. It's a lot of really crazy stuff that's going on in here just to get to this form factor where you can open and close it. I mean, again, we're used to phones that are always on as far as that screen goes, one orientation. This, to be able to get something that literally folds in your hand, takes a lot of R&D, and that's expensive. You have to invest a lot in terms of testing, design, manufacturing, to get to this point where you can actually ship something. So those costs do go over to the consumers, but as with everything else, it goes down with time. I mean, the original iPhone, when that came out with its capacitive display, what was it, like $500, $600 on a 2-year contract. Now we say $500, $600, that's a great deal.
Yeah.
But that was with a commitment of 2 years to Singular or AT&T.
Right.
So over time, that dropped down, and now you can get a really nice new Android phone that has a capacitive display for $300. I think our colleague Patrick was out in Chicago last week looking at some of the new Moto G phones. So all this stuff with time generally go down, but the initial batch usually pretty pricey.
Is there any chance we'll see any surprises at Unpacked? It seems like we know everything these days before it's even unveiled. I'm hoping that they are holding something in their back pocket. That's coming from Ryan in the YouTube chat.
Yes, that's what we were talking about a little bit earlier.
Those are always fun.
The surprises are what makes this stuff great. As far as phones, we pretty much have a good idea on what phones
That'd be hilarious if they're like, wait, we have a fifth phone.
And you know what? It's very possible.
It's a 12-sided die.
Honestly, that would be a surprise.
It would be a surprise.
And I would be very happy to see if Samsung decided that they're coming out with a 12-sided die.
Right.
That's a phone.
Play D&D like with your friend. I don't know.
with your $2,000 Samsung die.
Yeah.
As for surprises, again, some of the things we were speculating on that's possible are this Galaxy Home Mini, which is a Bixby-powered smart speaker. We also have, what else was it?
Well,
possibly
VR.
a watch,
VR,
possibly
maybe.
VR. Headphones seem like a pretty good bet. These Galaxy Buds Plus, since retail packaging is already popping up on those things on the internet.
It's a popular thing. Everybody's doing it.
Amazon's got earbuds. Google's got earbuds. Microsoft's coming out with earbuds. Apple obviously has AirPods. Everyone's got headphones. Samsung's had headphones for a while. Might as well give them an update. Try to compete. If you're buying your new Galaxy Z or Galaxy S20, might as well pair them with some nice Samsung Galaxy Buds Plus too.
All right, switching gears with the remaining time we have left to talk about the Oscars. What was the deal with them not letting the two ladies for makeup and hairstyling speak? What was the story there?
Oh, from makeup and hairstyling speak?
I missed this.
Did one of them get cut off? I know one of them got to talk for a while. Well, that's the
they
thing
tried
with
to cut off Parasite too.
Yeah, and then everyone like yelled at them to turn the lights back up so they could keep talking. I mean, that was in bad form. It's like, yeah, you're running over, but
they let Joaquin run over.
It's like a historic win.
All these shows always run over.
They
all these
always
award
run
shows.
over.
Like, let's not pretend that these are going to be like 3-hour hard stops.
Right.
That never happens.
They're doing better about overages, I think, because Oscars have gone to this no host format where instead of having a single host come in who like does a bad joke. Sorry, maybe there's sometimes good jokes, but mostly they're bad
Ricky
jokes.
Gervais.
So they do a bad joke. As
The only
I said,
good jokes last night were from
then
Kristen
Wiig.
Wiig.
That person introduces the person that comes in to do the. It's like you're just cutting out more of the bad jokes in between the other celebrities coming in and saying this is who's nominated. And
Right now, you might as well just have James Corden and Rebel Wilson show up as cats.
I mean, that was pretty funny.
It was.
That was pretty good.
And it's good that Cats got to the Oscars.
Somehow.
It deserved to get onto some stage of some kind.
It was very funny. I thought it was a highlight for me. What was the question?
better
Oh
than
yeah,
the
not
movie.
letting people talk. I mean, like that's they're trying to, in the interest of everyone getting to bed. I had like half a bottle of wine. I was real tired. That's why they're doing it. But it's always like if you're gonna scrunch things, it feels sad to scrunch the people that just want, especially in a category where celebrities that Joaquin Phoenix is always in the spotlight.
Right, we've heard a ton from
He
Joaquin
gets-
Phoenix this award
yeah.
season. Brad Pitt, we've
They
heard a
get
ton
their
of.
time in the spotlight. These
Yeah.
people never get their time in the spotlight, and so it feels
Exactly.
harsh.
Cut the, I guess the best actor, best actress. Cut those speeches shorter. Let the people who actually
right.
don't get the as you said the spotlight shown
Right.
on them. Let them have a chance to talk. That would be a nice twist.
Yeah.
The people like me and Sally back here who push the buttons and answer the phone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Gigi and Sally, do you want to take over
You
now?
should. You can thank your family. Who do you need to thank for making this possible? This daily charge possible every day.
I just want to thank Kristen Wiig for actually having the only good jokes last night.
Oh yeah, and she Maya Randolph. I thought they were. Weren't they the ones that like Billie Eilish cringed at in the audience, like the meme of Billie Eilish?
Yeah, but apparently the story on that I saw on Twitter was like Billie Eilish wasn't cringing at the joke so much as she saw like on the screen there.
Oh really?
Like there was something on Twitter. I don't know what's real.
Oh,
and
like
what's
she
not.
saw herself that she
saw
was
herself
on
and she was
screen. She's like,
"Why
oh
am
God,
I
why?
Why am I on screen here? Like, what do I have to do with all this?"
Right.
That's what I saw on Twitter. I don't know what's real and what's not.
What's a Billie Eyelash? Is she the one that ruined yesterday?
I thought she performed it well.
thought she was
I thought
fine
it
there.
sounded nice.
Oh.
But I
I'm
know.
surprised Luke Perry wasn't in there though. He's in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood,
Oh, is he?
and he's in Once Upon a Time in
Yeah.
Hollywood, and he wasn't in Memoriam.
Right.
Cameron Bryce, the 20-year-old who tragically passed, also apparently
Yeah.
wasn't featured in that.
Yeah.
They
it's nice that
always-
they gave Kobe
Yeah.
the prominent spot at the beginning. but-
Yeah.
They always miss names on those, though.
Yeah,
they
there's
always
always-
do. It's unfortunate, but they just always do. Okay, we've just got another minute or two left. And Timothy's asking if since this was the second year that the Oscars didn't have a host, do you think this trend will maintain going forward? He, for one, actually thinks it's better without a host. Go ahead, everybody else out there, sound off. Well, how did you feel? Did it work better with the non-hosted format? Thought it worked fine myself. Ryan also says, I don't think there needs to be a host for these shows anymore. It moved along seamlessly. I don't know about seamlessly, but it moved.
I like the no-host format. I think it's funnier and it's like paced better, but you like Ricky Gervais so much. So I
like Ricky Gervais at the Golden Globes, but I think Ricky Gervais is funny in general. Also, he makes people cringe, and that's watching at home as a viewer. That's fun. I like Jimmy Kimmel when he hosted.
Yeah,
I thought he did a great job. I thought Ellen did a great job a few years back, which Samsung also tied in just because everything's full circle now. Right. I'm honestly surprised. I guess if there was a host, maybe they would have taken out the phone. Right. The same way Ellen took out like a Galaxy Note and did a giant selfie.
The selfie
with everybody.
Resounded around the world or whatever.
Yeah, the most popular selfie of
until an egg beat it on Instagram. So it's all fun. There's now balance in the world.
That's true. We definitely needed that. But yeah, I don't mind one way or another as long as these things are kept at a decent clip.
Yeah.
I don't really mind.
Yeah.
But I'm probably not their target audience. I was watching basketball and Deadpool during most of the Oscars. I bounced back and forth just to see what was going on.
Right.
But yeah, the Blazers game was more intriguing to me.
So don't listen to him.
The only thing I cared about last night is that Brad Pitt name dropped my favorite TV show happening right now, Letterkenny. Somebody caught him out on the red carpet.
On the red carpet?
It was a Canadian entertainment agency. I'm not familiar with the channel, but the interviewer was asking him just general, softball questions about what he would think was going to happen at the event that night, and then he goes, "I think we should be paying more attention to your guys' Letterkenny," and I about lost my mind because I am madly in love with that show, and if anyone out there hasn't seen it, highly recommend it on Hulu. And I'm not one to preach TV shows that much, but that was a nice little nod. And then I went. You could see the entire cast of the show. It's a small kind of sitcom. It started as a web series, and they were losing their minds on Twitter. The Reddit was melting down. I thought that was pretty cool.
That's nice.
There you go. I like that Tycho Waititi just ripped Apple.
Yes.
In his post press conference where he basically just took shots. I think Variety tweeted
he was
out.
asked because he won Best Adapted Screenplay for Jojo Rabbit. And one of the questions that he was asked is what can advance writers in the industry.
And he just went off for 2 minutes.
The thing that can advance writers in the industry. Oh, it's because there's this industry union debate between producers and writers right now. And so they're like, what could be like a concession in this battle between producers and writers? He's like, Apple just needs to fix their keyboards.
And he just went on a rant about it just because the MacBooks of recent years have had these butterfly keyboards that are not the most conducive for typing.
Right.
And they are just, I don't mind mine. It takes some getting used to, but it's more like typing on glass than typing on an actual keyboard where there's give. Yeah. And you can actually type without just
and beyond the field, people, there are complaints that it drops letters that you try to type. You have to type 3 times for one letter. Yeah. And it's very susceptible to breakage.
Yeah. And the fact that he used, film's biggest night to just call out Apple, a $1 trillion company, for making substandard keyboards was honestly one of the best highlights of the night for me. So it's not Letterkenny, but I guess to each their own.
Well, Letterkenny.
Letterkenny. Sorry, I don't even know it. There we go.
Nothing's Letterkenny. Really, nothing compares because it doesn't exist. But, yeah, he was great just generally. Who doesn't love him? He's the best.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's the best.
Let him host.
I would watch that. I would
100%.
100% get behind.
Yeah.
But if him hosting slows down Thor: Love and Thunder, then maybe not. But
Fair enough.
That's just me.
I'll give you that. Okay, we're out of time, and just a quick programming note, we are not live tomorrow because, in fact, CNET will be spending the entire day covering the Samsung Unpacked event, so we're going to be putting all of our energy into that. We will follow up with a post-show, a complete breakdown on Wednesday, so if you want the abbreviated version, don't want to sit through the whole kit and caboodle with Samsung tomorrow, we'll be back on Wednesday to break it all down for you. But in the meantime, everybody enjoy your Tuesday, and we'll see you when we're back on Wednesday. And if you do want to join us, of course, CNET will be streaming on the main channel, on Periscope, on CNET.com, on Facebook. If you want to join us for the Unpacked, I'll be producing that myself, so if you want to see my wonderful button-pushing skills at their peak, We'll catch you tomorrow. Until then, take care, everybody. And Joan, go ahead and take us home.
His award-winning button pushing, knob turning skills. If you want, you can subscribe and ring the bell here to join us weekday mornings and be part of the daily news cycle here at CNET. Links to all of today's stories are in the description below, and we're also available as an audio podcast. Links to subscribe to that are in the description as well. For the Daily Charge, I'm Joni Salzman.
I'm Eli Blumenthal.
Thanks for joining us.
Can't get enough? Check out the Daily Supercharge, our extended post show with special features, audience Q&A, and in-depth reviews. Available now wherever you get your podcasts.